The trial was supposed to be simple. 48 standard hours. No weapons. No assistance. No extraction unless death was imminent. And on Varkesh 9, death was always imminent. The planet had earned its classification honestly. Atmospheric toxicity fluctuated without warning. Gravity was uneven across the surface, stressing bone and muscle alike. The ecosystem had evolved under constant predation pressure, producing creatures that hunted not for hunger, but for dominance. Even the plants reacted violently to intrusion. The Galactic Survival Council used Varkesh 9 as a filter. Those who survived proved worth further study. Those who didn't were educational. When the human candidate stepped off the drop shuttle, the observers were already placing bets. He was average by human standards. Medium height. No visible augmentations. No adamant. Just a simple environmental jacket, reinforced boots, and a pack that looked far too light to matter. Name? Asked the council registrar. Eli Mercer, the human replied. The registrar flicked her mandibles. Species? Human. A ripple passed through the observation chamber. This trial is not recommended for your physiology, she said flatly. You lack natural weapons. Eli nodded. So I've been told. The shuttle ramp began to rise. Once deployed, the registrar continued, you will receive no aid. Survival is your only objective. Eli glanced back at the watching silhouettes behind the armored glass. Do I at least get a map? He asked. Some of the observers laughed. The ramp sealed. The shuttle lifted. Eli Mercer stod alone on Barkas Udiksen. The first hour tested his senses. The air burned faintly with each breath. Not enough to kill him, yet, but enough to remind him this world did not want him here. The forest around the landing zone was dense, layered and twisting vegetation that moved even when the wind did not. Eli didn't rush. That alone confused the watchers. Most candidates panicked immediately. They ran. They wasted energy. They tried to dominate terrain they didn't understand. Eli crouched instead. He pressed his palm against the soil, felt the vibration patterns, watched the way the undergrowth shifted, not randomly but rhythmically. Interesting, murmured council biologist Threxna. What is he doing? Another observer asked. Listenin, Threxna replied slowly. 3 hours in, the first predator approached. The Skarn. 4 meters long. 6 legs. Armor plates grown like overlapping shields. Its jaws could shear through reinforced hull plating. On Varkesh 9, the Skarn was not the apex, but it was close enough to kill most trial subjects in under 10 seconds. It emerged silently from the brush behind him. Eli smelled it before he saw it. Not fear. Not sweat. Iron. He turned slowly. The Skarn froze. That was the first anomaly. Predators on Varkesh 9 did not freeze. They struck. The beast's head tilted. Its sensory fronds flared, tasting the air. Eli didn't raise his hands. He didn't shout. He just relaxed his posture. No challenge stance. No panique. Just presence. The Skarn circled him once, claws sinking into the soil. Eli tracked it with his eyes, careful, measured. Easy, he said quietly, not expecting it to understand the words. But tone mattered. The Skarn exhaled. A low vibrating sound. Then astonishingly, it backed away. Gasps filled the observation chamber. That is not possible, a council predator specialist hissed. Skarn do not retreat. They do, Threxna said slowly. From things they do not understand. The Skarn vanished into the forest. Eli let out a breath he hadn't realized he'd been holding. Okay, he muttered. That's one. Night fell quickly. On Varkesh 9, darkness meant escalation. The forest came alive with sound. Calls, screeches, low-frequency rumbles that traveled through bone and nerve. Eli built a shelter, not elevated, not hidden, but backed against a natural stone outcrop that limited approach angles. He didn't light a fire. He didn't need to. Instead, he laid out strips of nutrient gel and dried protein from his pack, not as bait but as offering. That detail was logged. What is he doing now? Asked the registrar. Marken nutrareti, Threxna answered. Or attempting to. The second predator arrived just before midnight. The Rethka. Bipedal. Fussed. Intelligent. Pack hunter. It watched Eli from the tree for nearly 20 minutes. Eli pretended not to notice. That was the second anomaly. Most prey locked eyes, challenged, or fled. Eli simply existed. When the Refka finally stepped forward, Eli slid one of the protein strips across the ground with his foot. Slow. Non triatining. The Refka sniffed it, then looked at him, then ate. The observers went silent. He's feeding it, someone whispered. No, Threxna said. He's negotiating. By morning, Eli was not alone. 3 creatures lingered near his shelter. The Skarn watched from a ridge. The Refka sat closer, alert but calm. Something else lurked just beyond sensor clarity. The apex. The Drovok. A monster even the council avoided studying up close. 8 meters of muscle and bone. Alpha predator of the hemisphere. It did not hunt often because nothing challenged it. When it arrived, the forest went silent. Even the other predators withdrew. Eli felt it before he saw it. Pressure. Like the air itself had decided to pay attention. He stood. Slowly. The Drovok emerged. Its eyes locked onto him. The observers leaned forward. This is where it ends, said the registrar quietly. The Drovok took a step closer. Eli did something no previous candidate had ever done. He sat down. Open posture. Exposed throat. Hands resting on his knees. Not submission. Trust. The Drovok stopped. It lowered its head, massive and scarred. Eli swallowed. Hey, he said softly. I'm not here to take anything. The Drovok's breath washed over him, hot and heavy. Long seconds passed. Then the creature lay down. Just lay down. Close enough that Eli could feel its warmth. Shock rippled through the council chamber. That's impossible, someone breathed. No, Threxna said, all in her voice. It's unprecedented. The first 24 hours ended with Eli asleep against the flank of a creature designed to kill him. By the 36th hour, the predators followed him when he moved. Not tightly, not aggressively, just present. When the extraction shuttle descended at 48 hours, Eli looked up in surprise. Oh, he said. Already. The predators watched the shuttle with open hostility. Eli stood, brushing dirt from his jacket. Easy, he told them gently. I'll be back. The Skarn chuffed. The Refka pressed closer. The Drovok rose and followed him to the clearing. The shuttle pilot's voice cracked over comms. Council, we have a situation. The predators did not stop at the tree line. They followed Eli onto the landing zone. And when the shuttle lifted, they followed him home. The council chamber did not erupt into panic. It froze. The extraction shuttle cleared the atmosphere of Varkish 9 with 3 apex predators standing directly beneath it, watching until the engines burned the sky white. Sensors confirmed what the observers already knew. The Skarn had moved first. The Refka followed. And the Drovok, the uncontested apex of the hemisphere, had not retreated. It had waited. That is not pursuit behavior, the registrar said quietly. That is attachment. Eli Mercer did not notice the tension when the shuttle docked. He was too busy apologizing to the pilot. Sorry about the mud, he said, stepping out. The ground back there gets grabby. The pilot did not answer. He stared past Eli, at the external feeds now lighting the bay walls. 3 massive lifeforms were advancing across the landing platform. Station security alarms began to wail. Containment fields activated. None of it mattered. The Skarn stopped just short of the energy barrier and huffed irritably. The Refka paced. The Drovok sat down and waited. Every sensor screamed danger. Every instinct in the chamber shouted extinction. Eli turned, frowned, and walked back toward the field. Hey, he said calmly. You can't come in here. The Drovok tilted its head. Eli placed a hand against the barrier, directly in front of the creature's massive skull. I know, he continued. I don't love it either. But this isn't your place. The Skarn chuffed again. The Refka made a low sound, something close to complaint. The Drovok leaned forward until its brow rested against the field, eyes never leaving Eli. Then slowly and possibly it lowered its head. A gesture of compliance. The alarms cut out one by one. No one had ordered it. The council chamber erupted only after that. This is a violation of containment law. This species cannot be allowed to bond apex fauna. This is a security nightmare. Eli blinked as officials rushed in, speaking over one another. Wait, he said. What's going on? Threxna stepped forward. You completed the trial, she said carefully. Beyond parameters. Eli scratched the back of his neck. Oh, good. I was hoping I hadn't messed it up. She studied him. How? She asked. Did you survive? Eli thought about it. I didn't treat them like monsters, he said finally. Just animals having a rough day. Silence followed. Predator specialists reviewed the footage again and again. No dominance displays. No force. No pheromonal control. No hidden tech. Just patience. Awareness. Boundaries. Humans evolved with predators, Threxna said during the closed session. They didn't wipe them out. They learned them. The Drovok remained outside the station for 6 hours. It did not attack. It did not leave. It waited. Finally, Eli walked back to the platform with the small crate of nutrient packs. He placed it near the barrier. I really do have to go, he said softly. But you'll be okay. The Drovok sniffed the crate. Then after a long moment it rose. The Skarn followed. The Rethka lingered last, watching Eli until the barrier doors closed. Only then did they turn back toward the wild. The council voted that same day. The Varkesh 9 trial was suspended indefinitely. Predator-based survival testing was reclassified as human-incompatible variables. And Eli Mercer was quietly reassigned, not as a soldier, not as a weapon, but as a consultant. Weeks later, on a different world, a frontier colony reported an apex incursion. Eli arrived with no escort, no weapons, just a pack that looked far too light to matter. The local governor watched from behind reinforced glass as a massive shape emerged from the trees. You're sure this works? She asked. Eli smiled. Usually. He stepped forward. And somewhere deep in the alien forest, a predator lifted its head and listened. The galaxy would remember the day humans proved they didn't conquer apex beasts. They made room for them. And that, the council decided, was far more dangerous.